Now I'll start with altcoins, other swing coins we have. We have renamed active list to swing because now the focus is swing, right? So that's why I have renamed it. Okay. Look at APT. So APT is going through its counter trend, but very important thing, if you look at it is forming a cup, a huge cup. So very interestingly speaking, this was near vertical move, as you know, but here you're not seeing that kind of move. It is different. It's likely to different until it reaches recent rejection. When I say recent means I would say all-time high in this case. So until then, I'm expecting it to move like this from its behavior point of view. Not like vertical, more at this angle, looking at its current behavior. Okay. And this trend line shows that it has broken, which is positive, right? So definitely there is no risk. Now it is above this support line. So you can imagine. So the progress I'm expecting it to do, not like this, but more like this with APT. Looking at its behavior, more like, yeah, slower. Then we'll see. If once it breaks above the top, then we'll see. But this is how it looks like in the present. So positive, right? So far, so good. What is important is it positive? The answer is yes. Okay, atom, perfect. Struggled for 3-4 weeks, multiple weeks, in fact. Nice lick, nice bounce. Positive. Moving away from this white line. Positive. And then it has to break above this. That's why it's starting from here. Remember, when I draw arrow, note that these arrows are not randomly starting from somewhere, but a specific point. Don't focus on the arrow. So you may say, oh, Mihir has 2 arrows, green and red, but you are missing the point that where it starts. Okay. What does it mean when it is not? That means this is indecisive over here. Here, there is definite direction, technically. This is the meaning. So if my green arrow starts from here, that means the resistance is cleared. If my red starts from here, and this is not about atom, this is about general, right? So there's no ambiguity. If you see 2 arrows, you should not get confused because their origin is different. That means this is applicable above this, and then red arrow is applicable below this, and in between is noise. That's the interpretation. Okay. Similarly, AVAX is near resistance, which is good. It's following this arch that we had. Pretty good. BNB also making progress. I don't have arrows, but you know it now. I don't have to draw arrows everywhere. I'll just verbally say this. So R1 will give us the breakout, and it is making progress. Remember, it is making progress. So it made move, rejected, supported, and now recovering. See, if we focus on this is how it's behaving. So far, so good. Look at Doge. So the Doge is making progress, slow but steady as for last 4 weeks. If we look at last few months, it's not good. Of course, not good. There's nothing to gain. But if you focus from here, it has some momentum. And things change. Remember, a big move like this would change everything. So that's something nobody can predict. Nobody. We can talk about what it's trying to do, what it has done recently, and what it might do in terms of progress, but we cannot predict it will make a 30% candle or 100% candle or 10%, whatever. That is out of anyone's purview or capability. Nobody can do it. We can say it's positive for last 4 weeks and trying to recover, and it will try to recover this one. So I'm expecting it to follow the green path. So remember, origin is here in this case. Yeah. EGLD. Okay. It wants to break above this. This week's price action indicates that it doesn't want to continue going down. It wants to break above this. Positive. Ethereum has broken above R1. Again, it had broken here, broken again, heading for R. Next one. Oh, there's a typo. Sorry. Should have been R1. Right? So it's heading for R2. Makes sense. This is useless for now, right? So we can even remove too far. FET, now it's making progress clearly today, especially. This is good. But this is still consolidation. Never forget the box, because there were attempts even earlier. When we look at the present is not, present would weigh 80, 20, 70, 80%, but the recent past is equally important. Okay, I mean, not equally, but important, I would say, not equally. The present means, so, okay. The definition of present is not today in this one. When we look at weekly, the present is the weekly candle. This is, I had to clarify. Present is not this moment. I mean, otherwise you get confused. So if right now it's 10:30, it's not 10:30 I'm talking about. I'm tracking at weekly. So weekly is the present, and this is recent past. And then you can go further and look for the trend and so on. The present is good, positive. Present is good, but with respect to recent past, it is not good enough. It has to break above. Right? So the present is positive, but not enough. This is the right way to phrase it. It has to break above this for getting this, right? Probability point of view. So there is no question of crash here. It is positive, but not confirming, technically speaking. So that's the difference. So this is positive, but not confirmed that it will hit R1 from technical point of view. If it breaks above, that it gives confirmation, technically point of view, means highest probability. Again, I should not use the confirm word, but the highest probability. So the probability increases as it progresses towards the breakout. That's how it is. There's nothing at this moment, there's nothing, or no coin is indicating crash. Okay, so this is a Filecoin. So I think it will accelerate, in my opinion, once it breaks above this orange line. It's likely to, because if you look at this, it's like taking turn. So it's like when you take a U-turn, your speed is not the same when you're going straight. You slow down, something like that. Okay, so this is also, FTM is getting ready to break up R1. I think this time it should be able to do it. Why not? Matic is also taking turn nicely, right? It's following. Remember, this is here, not here. Very important point. So progress. Near coin is also making nice progress. Right? If we draw a trend line in this case, we can say that it could react somewhere here and then decide. So we'll keep this line. It makes sense currently. Not always, but in this case, yes. So this near is near resistance. And then when it is broken, then it should accelerate. So this is the beauty. When you look at 5%, then this is another aspect of choosing. When you look at 5%, and when I look at this setup, probably this setup is not the best. So those who just look at percentage do not get to understand which one is the right one. So near resistance, so I don't want to repeat, it's in the best guideline. Near resistance, anything near resistance is where good traders do not put money. It doesn't mean that this coin is bad. It doesn't mean it's not progressing. It means that the probability of continuation goes up only when the resistance is broken and closed, the price is closed, daily close or 12-hour close above resistance, then there's confirmation. Weekly confirmation is even stronger. So higher the time frame, the better the confirmation. That's how it is. So near resistance, nobody puts new money. And near the support, similarly, the opposite. So long, and I don't explain short because it's opposite to the long strategy. So I don't have to mention every time. Right? If you're healthy or if you're sick, both are not together. It's like that. So it's so simple. So whatever rule you apply for long, opposite rule is for short. In other words, if I have to short, for an example, I would short at resistance. But if the resistance is broken, I have to close it. Very simple. If I'm near support, I would go long. But if the support is broken, I have to close my position. It's like that. What if the price is between support and resistance? That means that is not qualified. Or you may say, okay, I want to go, nothing wrong, but then it could swing either side because it's in middle. Then you have to look for the prior trend and see what is the trend. So let's say orange line is not there, right? And this is like support and this is resistance. I could go long on this one. Why? Because my prior one is making progress. Likewise, if you look at the whole entire thing, then it is not making progress. Then I would need more confirmation. So when I take long from here, I'm looking at this particular progress, this is how one would think about. If one has to be more conservative, has to wait for this, even this to be broken. Likewise, right? So there are so many methods, but I'm highlighting few techniques without highlighting. So those who watch my video or attend get to know some gems. So one has to, I don't give, because these I spend so much time. If I just highlight and then if somebody would just join, and there is a reason. Those who stay longer time would learn more and more and more. That's how it is. And because knowledge is given incrementally in here, it's not that you because the charge is also incremental that way, right? So that's how in a way. So you end up, if you go for longer term, you end up acquiring a lot of knowledge. So I don't post everything together because somebody just pay for a month and gets everything versus somebody pays for a year. It doesn't make sense. So I give knowledge incrementally. Yeah, I mean, it has to be like that. Otherwise, this is like deep research. Anyways, um, so I think you got to you got it right. How this could work. So it is important that at resistance, I would personally not put new one. It doesn't make sense. So sometimes, so you look for another coin. That's how it is. And let's say no coin is perfectly perfect. When I say perfect, means near resistance or support. That means it's a wait time, right? It's a wait time because my support is too deep. Then it's very difficult because my risk is high. So the point is, when the coin or asset is near support and the trader wants to go long, that's heaven. It doesn't mean the support give a certainty. The certainty is not in terms of gain, but the certainty in terms of risk, that the risk is lowest near support. It's like falling from 1 foot or compared to falling from 10-foot height, something like that, right? So you know that if you are if you're standing on a a table, just 1 foot or 2 feet of height, you know that even if you fall, it doesn't hurt you severely, right? That's the risk. But if the height gets taller and taller, the risk also goes higher and higher. You know what I'm saying? Support is your ground, and height of the table is increasing. You know what I'm saying? So that the risk of injury goes up as table height goes up. I'm trying to make an analogy out of this, so just spontaneously. So that's how it is. So sometimes it's better to visualize it. So it is not that if you are standing on a 1 foot 2 feet table, you cannot fall. You can, but the point is, even if you fall, the risk is so low that you don't care. That's the meaning. So support, when someone buys at support, it doesn't mean it confirms the guarantee. It won't go down further, but it confirms that the risk is lowest. If you get this one, you get everything. Okay, next one is RNDR. Nothing to say, right? Making progress, still within the box, moving away from support, very positive. Looking good. Sand, similar. I mean, when I say similar means moving away from support. So that's positive part. SOL, broken this orange line, remember? This is good. This is good. And yeah, only risk is on if the support is broken. Now, the thing is, the support is deeper and the resistance is here. So, as I said, so that's where other guideline comes in play, which you have to read it. I'm not going to repeat every time. You have to watch my video, so you will come to know. But the hint is the size. Okay, with this note, we completed all 15 coins in our list. Removed 2 coins, Mina and Dot last time. What we'll do also, we should cover dollar index. Okay, a lot of drawings. This is the one trend line, the green one. And then it broke, but there's no new low, it bounced. However, this bounce is not high enough, not yet. So if it crosses this orange line, 104, let's say, round figure, then there's a point of concern. Remember, this green arrow is above this then this gives the highest probability of recovery in this case. So what do I interpret? The probability of new low is still high, but we saw the effect of this bounce yesterday. Remember, in my observation, 0.1%, 0.2% of DXY bounce is not affecting. But when it bounces by 0.5% or more, that it really brings down Bitcoin. Now, I don't know the knowledge, how the algorithms are written, as you know, because there are so many algorithms, different traders and so on, right? There's no way to find out. However, the price action tells you, after observing enough, you conclude some kind of trend or trait, so to speak, that how it behaves. So in my observation, up to, don't pick the number exactly, 0.5, ballpark number 0.5. Okay. So I saw bounces 0.2, 0.3, it doesn't affect, but 0.4, 0.5, and then higher, it starts, then the Bitcoin reacts, really reacts. And as soon as it drops, so that's what happens. If you look at closely on Friday, the whole bounce on Friday, when it started bouncing, Bitcoin didn't react. When it crossed 0.5%, it reacted. And when it drops a little, tiny, look at hourly, you see a tiny 2 hours of drop, and it actually pumps Bitcoin and altcoin in a big way, especially some of the altcoin pump big way, right? And every time it's different and not necessarily it repeats, but this is a general observation. So over here, it didn't bother Bitcoin. Here, this bounce bothered, and this one could, offered bounce. So this was the Friday's observation. I believe if you observe, you will also find something new or something interesting, right? So this is more lower level stuff, but it's interesting. So in short, if this continues and continues to make progress, then Bitcoin will just wait. I think if I have to predict on DXY, Bitcoin will hold 30K, 33K level, even with some bounce. The moment it breaks above this orange line, 103, 104 kind of a level, I think it will start dragging down towards 25K. This is based on its prior movement. And if it, of course, it continues to go up on the higher side, then it's a big trouble, right? And there's so many factors, but this is one decisive factor. So we do track it. It's important. So I hope you get it. So every day it doesn't change. It also depends on how big the move is on a day. And then that's one factor. And the second factor, you focus on a weekly trend, not every hour or every few hours movement, and focus on the areas, support areas, rejection areas. So when it was coming down, it's kind of an alert. Alert doesn't mean risk. Some people misunderstand. So let me also clarify. Alert doesn't mean risk. Alert simply means you are made aware. If you're busy with something, you are made aware that, hey, you need to focus on the price action. Okay, it's like that. It's like crossing a road, right? It's like a junction, right? So when you're going straight, you can be on cruise control, but you know how the awareness goes up when you come near to the turn or crossroads. You know what I'm saying? It's like that. So when it reaches, so price near support and resistance is like car near turns or crossroads. Your awareness changes. If you're talking to your friend, you may pause it automatically, naturally, because you have to be careful near turns, right? Especially near crossroads. you have to be careful. I mean, I'm talking if there are signals, then it's okay. But think about there's no signals. You will look at left, right, all those. So you are very careful. So that's so it's about awareness. So when I raise alert, it's not that it's about crash. It's about awareness. So you wake up, you become more aware and watch carefully. You pay more time. You are busy, but now you pay attention. So don't get confused with alert with potential crash. No, you have to refer levels. The levels determine whether there is risk or not. My alert is to wake you up. So I hope there is no ambiguity in interpreting my communication, right? So I try to be more precise in what I want to convey. So when I say alert, and then so you pay attention, and then you say what it is, how it is behaving on support. So yesterday I tagged the 2 days I'm in posting on info channel about DXY. So you are aware, and yesterday I tagged because it was bouncing. So you would look at it, and then you see what is the impact on my coin. That was the intention. And again, these are reference coins or reference asset. It's not one-to-one, as I said earlier as well, but a very important one. Okay, let's have a quick look at Treasury as well. Now, Treasury is very important because they react to the Fed's move. It's bouncing because expected 25 basis point hike. Why? Because inflation is not going away. There are two parts of inflation. One is the regular CPI, like consumer in inflation monthly basis. I'm talking about CPI, let's say from the US. I'm sure different countries, similar system. I don't know the frequency they publish. It should be monthly, I believe, but I am not sure. So in the US, it's monthly, in the Europe as well, and most of the cases monthly. And we track. And as part of that, there are two components for those who are not aware. The core inflation is the inflation without fuel, I mean, energy related stuff, food related stuff. Okay. So there are two for the bifurcation. And Fed focuses only on core, which doesn't include food, doesn't include energy. That means, so I posted the chart that day. Remember, there were two line charts. What happened for the month of March, the overall CPI went down a little, but the core went up. So it was a mixed signal. Why? And the logically speaking, why overall inflation went down? In my opinion, it is because of the crude oil and natural gas price. And it affect the crude oil touched $70 per barrel, which is like a recent low. And that's why the overall price went down. But that falls under energy, remember. and Fed doesn't consider because the crude oil changes, not and the inflation changes. So the Fed doesn't focus on overall CPI, but the core. And the core went up. See, people, this is, I mean, you can always read more about it, but I'm just giving you the gist of it. So the Fed focuses on core, simple reason being that oil price changes, energy price changes, and that fluctuates inflation. That's why they want something that is not changing so often. That's why they exclude energy and food and then consider. And then in the core, 1/3 of the core is rent, especially the construction. And so that's the core part. If you further dissect. Okay, so that's how it is. So basically the core has gone up, and that's why market is expecting a rate hike, and that's why yields have gone up. That's why the market reacted on Thursday. Of course, it pumped on Friday. Why?
Core 1/3 is
Rent.
Rent, is it? Okay, rent.
Yeah. You can search up. I'm just highlighting so you can then research more. Sometimes the
Yeah,
direction is more important. Starting point is important, and then you can always Google and find out
yeah,
more of that
I,
GPT.
I have to read. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm just trying to cover the big picture here, the macroeconomic, because that's the driver. Based on whatever little I know. I mean, of course, I have limitation. This is not my core area, but I'm also progressing in terms of acquiring knowledge and learning myself as a student of economics, you can say. Not a formal education, but reading through or listening through. So whatever I learn, I try to share with you all. What else? Yeah, so that's why, again, this is a hint. Now, why market has gone up on Friday, the stock market, or of course the crypto similar, is anticipation that, okay, 25 basis point and then pause. Because if they don't pause, then they'll put pressure on the financial system, which we observe through a couple of banks, a few banks here. So, and a big banks, Credit Suisse. So the market is expecting, or it's like betting that the Fed will, or the central banks in general, will pause, because it's like difficult. Earlier, they had only one target: kill inflation. Now they have two targets. They have to kill inflation. Also, they have to make sure there is no major damage to the economy. So they have two problems. Earlier, they had one problem. Now they have two problems. Now, how to navigate this through is market is anticipating. So what market is anticipating, that okay, 25% basis point is given, means quarter% hike is given, but then they'll pause, because if they don't pause, then they'll bring the recession now, immediate. That's the market speculation or bet, and that's why we saw the bounce again. So May 2nd, we'll come to know when the decision will come, and the tone of Powell will make a difference. Tone means what the forward guideline, what he says. So my hunch, again, hunch, because right, it hasn't happened. My hunch, if he talks about potential hike, the market will crash. Because as I said, the market is going up on with anticipation that the 25 basis point or no hike, right? 25 basis point and pause, option one. Option two, no hike in the next meeting. With these two options, market is rallying. So on second or third, whenever when the press conference happens, if he indicates that potential rise depends on the data, that kind of silly statement he makes, then market will react negatively, in my opinion, simply because then those two options will be out of question. That's why, because market moves on certain assumption. If those assumptions are invalidated, then they will do the opposite. Means they will roll up, roll back. They'll roll back. So that's my hunch at this moment. So come 2nd May, we'll come to know. So until then, I think the bounce will continue. So I'm just trying to put some timeline with from a macroeconomic point of view. That day will be decisive. That day you cannot be absent. You have to be online. Okay. What else? I think that's enough. I'll end this recording and talk about something you're interested in.